I grew up here in Florida with my brother Brian and my parents. We grew up in a Catholic home. We went to church only on holidays, so we really weren't taught what it meant to have a relationship with Jesus. My brother was a Boy Scout and I was a Girl Scout, but our family had a secret. And that secret was oftentimes my brother and I would lay in bed crying ourselves to sleep because we'd hear my parents arguing. And it was because my dad had come home intoxicated. We'd wake up the next morning and I would see a new gaping hole in the wall that needed to be patched. So my father was always very remorseful and always apologized. We knew we were loved, but it was some tough years growing up. Growing up as a teen, I still was keeping my dad's drug addiction to cocaine and his alcoholism a secret. I tried to just follow the crowd and act as normal as I could, keep a smile on my face, not rock the boat at home. But there were times where I remember my mom even calling the American Legion, where my dad would hang out with his buddies and drink, and she would be calling to check up on him and see when he was coming home. When I was able to drive, I actually would go and find my dad to make sure that he was okay and that he could get home okay. This one time I actually went to go pick him up and he wouldn't get in the car. I could not convince him to get in the car with me and leave his vehicle there. So he said, "I will follow you." So he was following me, and in my rearview mirror, I saw him get pulled over by a police officer. And so he got a DUI. At that point, my dad obviously was ready to face his demons and work on his strongholds, and he went into rehab. And we had like 6 months of my dad being sober. We were healing as a family. Things were going really, really well. I was out late one night. I remember coming home and all the lights were on in the house, but I just went to bed. And my dad came in and woke me up a couple hours later. He was telling me that my brother was gone, and I, at 18 years old, did not understand what that meant. Gone, deceased, dead, passed. Like, I couldn't wrap my head around that. It was a tragic accident that took my brother's life, and of course my whole world was turned upside down, and I was devastated. I was very confused and very angry at God. I remember making a pact with myself that I was going to find out the truth and find the peace about life and death. I didn't know how I was going to do that because I was Catholic and I wasn't really taught to understand that. But I made that vow to myself that I was going to figure it out and I was going to be able to understand that. Unfortunately, this is where New Age came into my life, and I started looking into listening to psychics and going to mediums and all kinds of mythical philosophies. And the weight of the world was definitely on me trying to figure all of this out. At 23, I met my husband, who was a Christian, and I noticed that he had this peace about him that I was seeking. I was 26 when we got married, and we started going to church. I was still looking into New Age philosophies, and at one point I remember asking my husband to go with me to this retreat. It was a silent retreat at an ashram in North Carolina. And he didn't want to go, but I convinced him and he went, and thank God he did go with me because it turned out to be a cult. Shortly after that, I was invited to go to a women's group, and in this women's group, the teacher gave me a book called A Case for Christ. This was a turning point in my faith because I read that book. If you are familiar with it, A Case for Christ is written by Lee Strobel, who was an atheist. And he talks about the historical evidence and the statistics and the probability of Jesus' life. And it just changed my whole understanding, built my faith, and this was the turning point in the depth of my faith, and also when I became saved. So I'm 28, and my husband and I want to have a family, and we're struggling trying to conceive and have a baby, and the doctors aren't able to figure out why, what's going on. So basically for 6 years, this emotional tug of my desire to truly be a mom. Eventually I did get pregnant through some natural approaches and figuring out that I had a thyroid problem. So the joy of my daughter being born was truly a gift from God. After Adriana was born, I was invited to a mother's group, a Christian mother's group called MOPS, and here is another turning point that solidifies my faith. These women and these mentors that are surrounding all of us young moms are showing us what it looks like to walk as a wife, as a mother, as a daughter of Christ, as a friend, in Christ. I've realized that the Lord was with me and He was seeking me and drawing me closer to Him all of these years. And the one thing that I would love to share with anyone who might be listening, if you're feeling empty, or that God-sized hole that we have is not being filled and we're trying to fill it with all the worldly ways, if you're seeking and you're lost and confused or don't have the faith that you might want to have, pick up Case for Christ. It truly was an amazing book that proved to me the science and all of the profound history, that historical evidence that he found. It's a great book. I highly recommend it.